Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another insightful session of Wellfest. Today, we are discussing something which is becoming a necessity in today's world. And it's just not a topic to discuss anymore: sustainability. During the session, we will learn the principles of conscious living from the experts who are taking the concept of sustainability further with responsibility. Of course, during the course of this pandemic, people have realized that how the repercussions of climate crisis can affect your personal life, and hence sustainability has come to the forefront in an unprecedented way, with more individuals, organizations, and countries pledging more towards moving towards a more environmental conscious choices and policies. The conversation around ecological preservation has become a necessity. To understand the importance and the strategies for adopting sustainable habits, we are pleased to welcome our esteemed panel of experts to join this conversation. So allow me to welcome Estelle Antognelli. She is the responsible tourism manager at Monaco Government Tourist and Convention Authority. She joined us today to share her valuable insights on the launch of Monaco's extraordinary white paper on responsibility tourism, a remarkable effort from the authority. Welcome, Estelle.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody.
We have with us Anushka Parwani. She is a renowned yoga and wellness coach who helps some of the India's most prominent personalities to lead a more fit and mindful lifestyle, a dream for every person in this country right now. Her work is rooted in the philosophy that yoga synchronizes mind, body, and the soul. With this, I'll welcome her.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Neeti, our third panelist is Neeti Mehra. She is the slow living and sustainability strategist and the founder of Beach Living, the most reliable and popular platform for promoting slow living in India. A true advocate and the champion of sustainability movement, she has inspired countless people to move towards more ecologically conscious lifestyle. Being an avid traveler herself, she knows how sustainability can affect your travel habits as well. Welcome, Neeti.
Thank you so much, Abhinav.
So I'll start with Estelle. Estelle, Monaco's white paper on responsible tourism is truly a remarkable nexus of sustainability and travel. What are the core concerns the white paper is addressing for the future tourism in Monaco?
The Principality of Monaco has been very engaged in sustainability for a long time, and even more since the advent of Prince Albert II, and the prince who has challenged the Principality to be carbon neutral in 2050. So it's very challenging. And furthermore, Monaco, like other countries, has been affected by the health crisis, and it's obvious that we need to rethink models, especially in the tourism sector, because this sector has been very much affected by the crisis. So we wanted to work on the white paper before the pandemic, but this period has confirmed that it was necessary to rethink tourism in Monaco. So during the first confinement, we decided to work on this document, on the white paper, with the objective to make an inventory of what tourism is now in the Principality. So we have carried out surveys, benchmarks. We had lots of dialogues with the stakeholders to provide a better understanding of the current tourism situation in Monaco. And this document is a working basis that allows to identify areas for improvement and actions to be taken that we have to develop in a sustainable tourism strategy that will be, of course, linked to the SDGs and the Principality's energy transition targets.
Yeah, so we really hope that tourism going forward, tourists going forward accept this and act responsibly and take these efforts seriously. We'll come back to this. I'll go to Anushka now. Anushka, one of the core concepts of holistic wellness is that our collective well-being is linked to the state of environment. As a wellness coach, what is your philosophy of sustainability?
So my philosophy is really to keep everything balanced. I truly believe in balance, everything in moderation. Um, Especially now, we've had the festivities of Diwali and we've been seeing how the air quality right now is so worrisome. It's severe to dangerous, and we are all breathing this in. I also practice yoga. So the core of what we do is what every single one of us do really is breathing. So when we are breathing, and some of us really understand that change. So it really just starts from home, like keeping it balanced. As small as I know we discussed this earlier before the webinar started, about just making mindful decisions. It always starts at home. Something as small as reuse, recycle, use things for multiple purposes. Even if you do eat, there are a lot of people that talk about leaving meat or not buying certain products, etc. I just feel like if you do everything in moderation, and most importantly, mindfully. And that really happens with being in tune with yourself. Because I truly believe that unless you're not in tune with yourself 100%, all the decisions and the choices that you make are never going to be mindful and in a positive way to be more environmental friendly. So I truly believe the philosophy is keep it balanced, never an extreme, because that does take time. So when you do want to see a shift or create a shift, you start with keeping it balanced.
Agreed. The balance is something which we all thrive for nowadays, and this is very important. And this is one of the learnings from pandemic as well, if I am not wrong. That because we all understood while staying at our homes that balance is something which is very important. And with this note, I'll come to Neeti as well. Neeti, you've been a pioneer in introducing modern India to the benefits of leading a sustainable lifestyle. And you termed it as slow living. How do you define slow living, and how does it relate with sustainability? And slow living intrigues every one of us, because we all understood that during this phase we've been running after certain stuff which hardly mattered when we were at home, confined to our homes and with our family. So how do you define that?
So, Abhinav, what you said is very correct. We've been running and chasing things. So, basically, what we've been doing for the last few decades is chasing development, chasing success, chasing money, chasing possessions. And I think what the pandemic has shown us is that, these things in the long run are not important. What really matters to us is, our balance, our vitality, our family, and, living mindfully and meaningfully, our health. And I think all of these things have come up in the pandemic in the last 2 years in the limelight. So I've been speaking about slow living since 2017, and it's not a new concept. Our grandparents have been practicing it. The way they were living their lives, they were living very simple, frugal lives. They were living very healthy lives. But it was actually very interesting. In the 1980s, Carlo Petrini, an Italian journalist, actually coined the word slow living. But it's actually, what our grandparents have been doing, what our parents have been doing probably 30, 40 years ago. But it's just in the last 2 decades, we've been on this road of development, on this road of progression, which is very convenience-based, which is very efficiency-based, and we're losing connections with nature, we're losing connections with ourselves. As Anushka also mentioned that, we're losing our sense of balance and, our sense of what is really important in life. So slow living is just, it's an antidote to, our fast-paced lives. It's actually slowing down, applying the brakes and seeing what is really important to you. It's your health, it's your family, it's the environment, the air we breathe, all these different concepts. And it's actually looking at and taking around, taking in that, what is important for you and actually applying that to your life. And it's redefining your life on your own terms, not by the benchmarks of what society has set for you. I think that is very important, that, you need to see what is important for yourself. You need to see what markers of success are important for you, what markers of, a good life are important to you, not by what society said that, you need to possess cars, you need to possess, a certain lifestyle, you need to possess things and objects. So, and in the end, you also need to ask this question that, do objects own you, or do you own the objects? I think that's a very important thing we need to ask also.
No, like you said, it's the person who has to decide. And coming back to the tourism, I was just while you were answering the question, Estelle, you mentioned that Monaco is taking certain steps towards it. It is very important for a traveler to understand it. And for any strategy, a sustainable strategy to work, the support of people is essential. How is the collective responsibility towards sustainability instilled within the travelers visiting Monaco?
As you said, this is a collective responsibility and a collective work. So before instilling it to the visitor, we wanted to make sure to engage and have the support of all these stakeholders. So thanks to the white paper and the workshops that have been done, we know that all the destination has the same objective and that we deliver the same message to our visitors. So the government, tourist and convention authority and all these stakeholders communicate all over the year as Monaco as a sustainable destination. And as you maybe know, most of the hotels in Monaco are certified. So we also promote a responsible gastronomy. We have lots of solutions of soft mobility that are very interesting for visitors. And we also develop lots of events dedicated to sustainability. So I think the visitors, when they arrive in Monaco, more and more know that Monaco is a sustainable destination. And once again, with our white paper, it will help us to work on a positive impact in order to have a positive contribution for the whole country, with, of course, the help of the visitors.
Yeah, I'm sure, and when a visitor knows that what are the steps being taken by a destination itself, they become more conscious towards it, and they tend to follow nowadays. A modern visitor is very responsible that ways. And coming back to a point which Neeti mentioned, that it has been with our grandparents and sustainable living or slow living, you call. Anshuka, I have a question for you. Yogic and Vedic teachings have always focused on coexistence and respect for our habitat. Can you share with us the philosophy of yoga says about being conscious and one with the nature?
Especially right now, like Neeti mentioned earlier, everyone's just chasing. I think the pandemic has definitely helped us with that forced stop or the forced pause. And what I really truly, I really admire about the philosophy with yoga and other Vedic teachings, Ayurveda, etc. is one thing is synonymous, is that it teaches us the union of mind, body, soul, internally and externally. So it's not only about being internal, and this is so important with energy, because I'll give you an example. When we do go onto a mat and I'm doing a yoga practice, and immediately if I go into one of my balancing poses, I have to be in tune with what my body is doing and my breath, or I'll immediately lose my balance. And I see a lot of that happen. So there are a lot of forced pauses through the practice. And why I feel that it really teaches you to bring that union, that energy union internally, and only that will resonate with the habitat. And like Ayurveda, the premise is really about all living beings have consciousness. And only when you are aware of your own is when you will resonate with the external. So with honestly, the philosophy is really, really teaching you that forced pause, whether it's through a yoga practice, whether it's through different mindful or Vedic practices that each and every one follows. It's really that forced pause that brings you to a higher level of awareness, because we are all living in such a concrete world. It's a rat race. So there's really no pause. So these practices in itself, even for somebody who's rushed and has only 60 minutes on a yoga mat, I have seen that shift during that class. from minute 1 to minute 60, they automatically feel like it's an antidote to stress, right? So automatically there's a big smile because they're really just present with one's breath, and that really just changes everything around as well.
Agree. And so point is, Anshika, that's just not just with the yoga. I think any exercising practices we do, this goes the same.
Mindfully,
Yes,
absolutely.
Mindfulness.
Yes.
And as mentioned during the beginning of the session as well, pandemic has really raised an alarm on urgent need of adopting more sustainable practices. So Neeti, what is your biggest learning from the pandemic and based on the sustainability?
What Anshika said, everything starts at home. So it's very interesting because we were at home for so long. So for me, there were a lot of for sustainability, people think you need to do a lot of big gestures. You need to maybe move to an electric car, or you need to travel. Maybe set off your carbon miles, etc. But a lot of people don't understand that true sustainability starts in small things that you do at home. For instance, I've been posting for 2-3 years, and you don't realize how much of organic waste you generate in your household, because you eat food, you eat salads, you eat so much of fruit. And then I started actually growing my own, plants, and I started growing my own vegetables and fruits also. So it was very interesting, in a small little urban garden. So there's small little gestures that you can make, and you just mindfully you stop shopping. Don't buy as much as you usually were. So small things that addressing consumption which is creating landfills, is creating so much of waste. It's creating actual dumps and problems. So things like addressing the conspicuous consumption, things like managing your own waste, things like maybe growing your own. It's just building connections, right? It's building connections in the kind of life that you understand regeneration from nature. Once you start composting, then you can grow your own plants. So it's a complete cycle. And as you said, you need to look at the principles, the 5 R's, which are, repurpose, reuse, recycle. All of these things, once you start putting it into practice, you see that, your small little efforts really add up to a lot. And I think that's what people really need to see. Start from the small and then go on to, the bigger and the larger. I think that's the biggest learning for me in the pandemic, that, you start small. You make small little gestures to simplify your life, and then you move on to the bigger things. Then you can look at, obviously, when you travel, for instance, you can carry your own water bottle, just a small little thing that you're not buying, plastic disposable bottles. You collect garbage. For example, if you're going for a picnic, you can collect your own garbage or collect the garbage of others which are thrown around, and properly you dispose of it. So the small things, once you start at home, you start implementing these practices on a larger scale outside. And the best, this is the best way also to for smaller children to learn. They see what your parents practice, what adults practice. Once you start putting that into motion also, you can also set an example for younger people around you. I think that's very important, because it's the next generation who will take this forward.
Yep. Talking about the sustainability further, the white paper seems like a stepping stone to a fully functional Monaco and a fully sustainable Monaco in that sense. It's great to see how it's meticulously planned with each sector and industry in mind, just not the tourism. It's every industry which has to contribute. Personally, how essential is this initiative?
I think it's Ban Ki-moon who first said there is no planet B. Everybody has a role to play. In fact, as Anushka said, and Neeti too. With this white paper, we are setting the stage. And personally, as I'm in charge of the responsible tourism department in Monaco, the white paper is a fantastic tool, because it's a comprehensive overview of what has already been done, and it gives a lot of ideas for future initiatives. It will help us in my work, it will help the destinations, the stakeholders, but the white paper is a stepping stepping stone, as you said, and it will help us to build a sustainable tourism strategy. So,
True.
of course, it's essential, but we are just at the beginning of the story.
Yep,
We have
yep.
to work
And I
a
think
lot.
it will. No, no, it will. It will. I need, like we discussed, it's a collective effort, and like we are seeing a change. People are becoming more aware. So, Anshuka, people have become more aware about their impact, about their own personal impact on the environment. What is the most important advice you have for people who want to adapt more meaningful and mindful lifestyle?
I truly believe that it starts with self-awareness, and for that, only self-awareness will enable you to make those right, conscious, mindful decisions, which in turn leads to a more meaningful lifestyle, livelihood, environment. Like small changes. Wake up, take in the sun, do a workout, do a yoga practice, connect with your surroundings, connect with the season. Watch the seasons really pass from one to another. Be present of what you're doing every single minute, every single second. You have to feel your being, and I truly believe when that is the only thing that will enable you to be conscious, be present, and tune in. So which will in turn allow you to make those right, conscious decisions. Be kind-hearted to your friends, your colleagues, and your environment. So when you're tuned in and you're present and you're at a state of higher awareness, you'll realize the subtleties and how easy and natural it is for everybody to really resonate with the same frequency, which in turn just gives you a more beautiful, holistic and wholesome life.
Yeah, amazing. So coming back to Anshuka, you made a very good point about how one can take those smaller steps and start with ourselves to get into mindful living. I'll throw the same question to Neeti. How do you aspire people, to live more sustainability and act responsibility and have a conscious lifestyle?
I think, Abhinav, now the mantra is less is more, and everyone wants to go towards a simple, meaningful lifestyle. Like Anushka said, that people want to live intentionally. They want a mindful life. They want a peaceful life, and we've seen it. How many people from Delhi and Bombay actually moved to Goa, and gave up their farms, etc., just to live a very quiet and peaceful life in Goa. And then it's interesting because our social media feeds, are not, your latest vacation here or your latest car there. It's more someone is gardening. And look at the amount of people who became, plant mothers and, pet mothers. I mean, the amount of people who got fur babies, the amount of people who got plants. I myself got so many plants this year because it's, like the connection is what people are looking for. And the minute human connection was taken away from us, we got on the digital world. Like, we connecting on Zoom, but like we just discussed, it's not the same thing. You can't express emotions the same way. You can't forge connections the same way. So, people did whatever they could to actually feel connected to Earth, whether it was getting plants, whether it was keeping pets, whether it was moving to a smaller city where, they felt they could live without restrictions. So I think that's what people are aspiring for, simple life. And that's what I try to tell them through my platform, Beach Living, that, you don't need to aspire for something very big, because I was in the glamorous side of things, right? I was a travel and food writer. I was an editor of a luxury magazine. But I tell people that, the smallest things in life and the things which give you the happiest are, very simple. It's like staying with your family, the health of your family the last 2 years, which are the most important things. It's, how healthy you've been, and, how healthy your mental health has been. I think that's another thing which has taken a big toll on people. And, just to consistently wake up every day, be joyous, find pleasure in the small things in life. Like I find composting very calming. People find it funny. I find, taking peels, putting it in dirt, putting my hands in dirt, stirring the pot. I find that, very, very calming. I find, my breathing exercises, yoga very calming, very, mild stretches very calming. I find gardening very calming. When I get my tomatoes growing or get my little chilies growing, I find that, very relaxing and it's encouraging. It gives you a lot of happiness. These are small things which you show to people. And I think people like that now. They want to see where are you drawing happiness from, whether it's small things, right? It's not like you buying diamonds or jewelry. Eventually that will come back. We've been seeing revenge travel, we've been seeing revenge shopping, we're going to see all of that also. But I think people have realized, the small pleasures of life. I think that is the biggest learning for me, that, we don't have to again look at these grand gestures. Of course, everyone would love to travel to Monaco, which I've been there. It's a beautiful destination. I'd love to visit there. And I enjoy yoga also. And, it's just small things, having a cup of tea with your friends. Like a friend came over after 2 years, and it was just really nice, just brewing a cup of tea, sitting and chatting with each other, and, meeting people without masks. I think, the small pleasures in that, I think that's what people want. They want simplicity. They want to go back to small things. They want to go to, genuine emotions, genuine things which give you happiness. I think that's what people are aspiring to, after the pandemic is over. Hopefully they will not forget that. They will still hold on to those emotions which they got from
I hope so. I hope so. Very well point made, and like you just mentioned, people have moved to certain place in India where, they have found that peace. I belong to a very a place on the foothills of Himalayas called Dharamshala, and I've seen many people moving to Dharamshala so that's my hometown, and people have moved there for forever, I think, and they are like choosing to stay there, do their work from home. And I think next destination should be Monaco for them, and because Monaco is doing something so consciously and responsibly, so I'm sure Monaco is going to be the top choice for travelers who want an exotic, adventurous experience while remaining responsible towards the environment. On a concluding note, Estelle, where do you see Monaco's stance on a sustainable destination in the future?
Yeah, as I said previously, Monaco has always taken care of the environment, and for the moment, it has always been in advance in terms of sustainability. More and more, sustainability is a major concern of us and our visitors. And thanks to the white paper, which will be officially launched next Monday in Monaco, we will work with all the stakeholders just after to define the new sustainable strategy, and we will strive to build a sustainable tourism strategy with all our stakeholders, clients, and visitors. So next year, maybe I will be able to give you more information about it, but I can assure you that sustainability will remain a priority for us in the future.
We all hope that, and we all know that Monaco will come up with that. Concluding note from you, Anshuka. Anshuka, you have spoken about the future, and the future generation is something which is going to take it forward. Your quick note on that.
Absolutely. And this brings me so much happiness to share. I work with a lot of children. I do kids yoga from the age of, they start at 2, go up to 9. And I've seen little changes that these little younglings have been making, our little young wellness warriors, talking about bringing in glass bottles for practice, telling each other about gardening, telling each other about, using the right litter bin to throw their litter, talking about recycling, talking about reusing. And also, I remember a little child came in wearing the same T-shirt for like 2 classes consecutively, which is 1 week apart. And I remember the other children, bringing that up. And I love how they remembered it. I love how they said that it's so important to reuse. It's so important to, make sure once you're done with this T-shirt, maybe turn it into a rag, or turn it into almost like, especially in India, I'll say it in Hindi, but ghar pe we do we take our T-shirts and then we turn it into rags. And the next thing I know, my mom's wiping something off with a T-shirt I used to wear 10 years ago. And initially it used to really anger me, because I had friends coming over and I was young back then and I was obviously not conscious. But today, it's just like a regimen. You wear something for long enough, then it changes into maybe something fashionable with little ripped clothes that I wear for my yoga practice, and then it becomes a rag. So I feel like that's shifting in the younglings, and it just, I mean, I'm almost beaming with pride because I know I can definitely see a better future, and I know that adults are supposed to set examples for children, but I definitely see the children here setting examples for different adults. So it's exciting.
We all hope that. And a concluding note from you, Neeti. What do you see? How do you see the future shaping up?
I definitely see less is more. People living more intentionally and people living more mindfully. I think that is the most important thing, which we spoke about before also. Self-awareness is very important, that you live by your own yardsticks in life and not let society or anyone else dictate what brings you happiness. And happiness is something we realize that it's something which comes from within you, right? I mean, there are obviously outside circumstances also which shape it, but in the end, happiness is something very, very intrinsic and it's very personal. And you can be happy with, like I said, small things, and we've discovered that happiness that you don't need to do. You might not need to own this, or you might not need to possess that, but just being healthy, just having your family around you, your friends around you, traveling mindfully, small things like that can give you a lot of happiness also. So I think my mantra for going ahead is definitely less is more. And, we can set examples for people around us, by the way you consume, by the way you project yourself, because I think today is a lot about, how you project yourself and what appearances are, and, what you put out in social media, how you live. So I think if we can speak about that lifestyle, that, about wellness, about well-being, about things like this, which are more experience oriented or more internally, generated rather than more possession or more object oriented. I think that is the way to go ahead. To speak about experiences, to speak about how you've changed internally rather than what possessions you have outside. So I think we'll be seeing that shift definitely going on.
So with this we conclude the session. And on a parting note, I would say that the responsibility and the conscious steps taken by Monaco would help Monaco sustain the sustainable future. And travelers, of course, will take it very responsibility. Will take their own part of responsibility to take it forward. And I aspire people to take up yoga. I aspire people to take up conscious living and adapt to the conscious and healthy lifestyle. With this, I'll thank you all for joining on this session.
Thank you very much.
We could have gone for long because the session is the topic is close to our hearts. But sadly, we'll have to. Someday we meet and then we talk about it again. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you
everyone. Sorry for the meet again.